The whole business model of pharma is changing with this. The computer will look at your digital twin and say, okay, this is the right, correct drug for this person. So you're going to get bespoke medicine. Up to 70% of all new drug discovery is going to be from AI.
I do see it being smarter, personalized, potentially faster, and, moving from the reactive model of selling one size fits all to proactive, data-driven partnership in managing a person's health.
Be more human focused and less about, making billions. I'm sure they still will, but it would be a nice turning point if that were to happen at all.
If your parents are coming over in an hour, you just say, make the house presentable, and that's it. And your AI custom builds a plan in one sentence. Zero micromanaging.
If working becomes optional, I would honestly need a robot that tells me what to do. Why should I get up? Why wake up? Just cryogenically freeze me. You don't need me anymore.
Hello and welcome to episode 101 of Disconnected. I'm your host, Jag Sharma, based out of Hong Kong, joined by my co-hosts Jason Kapadia in Dubai, Felina Tan in London, and Matt Webster in Rio de Janeiro. And together we'll be delving into the world of AI, tech, and social media, and how it's impacting society and culture. Coming up, for episode 101, we're continuing on from 100. We're not looking back, we're launching forward. We're launching forward 100 months. That's all that stands between us and 2034. It's not a distant future, it's a heartbeat away. In that short time, technology will redefine reality itself. This episode, just like the last, we confront what's next for our very lives, consumed and reshaped by technology. It's a future of giant leaps, and are we ready for those leaps? Felina, this is your 31st episode of Disconnected. Your first one was way back, episode 12. Did you think you'd be here 90 episodes later?
Oh, yeah, of course. And 90 more, maybe 900 more.
Whoa.
Oh, dude, it's so old, Jack.
By then, our AI representatives will know us so well that
that's true.
Maybe from like episode 250 onwards, it'll just be like, we just sign off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Felina's
you're
digital
right.
twin,
Actually, that would be interesting. And that's a possibility.
Could be easier. We'd get more episodes out then. Do daily ones. Anyway, last time we launched 100 months forward and we focused on entertainment and sport, courtesy of Jen Campbell, and I looked at the future of work. Today, it's Jason and Matt's turn. And you know what? Let's start with Jason. 100 months forward, personal AI agents, household robots, mobility. Take us on the journey, Jace.
Right, so it's 2034. You wake up, stretch, and say, good morning, Google, or your AI of choice. It answers saying, morning, the coffee is brewing. Colombian blend you wanted to try yesterday evening. I moved the dentist. The kids have that play at 3. Your bots finished the laundry and ironed the blue shirt. You're not looking at your phone, no screen, it's just voice. It's going to be just like her, but more real. And I don't think it'll feel like that lonely future. I think it'll feel like freedom, right? And I think that's where we're heading. By 2034, voice first AI agents and household robots will peel away at the mental clutter of adulting, scheduling, bills, endless admin. We've talked about it in previous episodes. I think we'll spend a lot less time staring at screens and more time actually being human, playing with the kids, reading a book, actually tasting dinner instead of stress eating over a sink. Today, if you look at Siri or Alexa, it can only just do very basic stuff. By 2034, I think it'll be so much more advanced where your AI doesn't actually wait, it anticipates. So we're talking about agentic AI. It knows you hate 8 a.m. meetings, reschedules them, books your cyber cab, reminds you that it ordered a gift for your mom's birthday, and it'll all be done by voice, no typing, no app hopping. You're not managing life, you're just living it. And it'll get smarter as the years go by, and you won't know the term, or I don't think most people will know the term generative task planning, but you'll use it every day. Like if your parents are coming over in an hour, you just say, make the house presentable, and that's it. And your AI custom builds a plan for the robot to pick up the Lego avalanche, wipe the counters, run a quiet vacuum in the living room, hide the laundry basket behind the couch. In one sentence, zero micromanaging. The bot executes while you're sipping coffee. Now, layering the robot, it's not going to be like a big clunky machine. It's going to be like one of these futuristic robots that you've seen, smooth, like in the human form that cooks, cleans, folds laundry, fixes the leaky faucet. You know, when I think about the expats here in Dubai that I've been meeting recently, they all say the same thing. Having a maid actually changed a lot for them. One dad told me that they used to rush home, having to help the wife cook, clean, and then, you know, they're so exhausted, they don't have the energy. But they're saying that now they have, having the maid, they can just pick up the kids from school, build Lego for 2 hours, and they're truly present. So that's the upgrade that's coming to a lot of the West that doesn't have that. You know, a robot that maybe costs 5,000 a year financed. That's kind of what families pay in Dubai for a live-in maid. Yeah, will do, you know, a lot of the feeding, the wiping, the tidying. You get to just be present with your kids, and you won't be exhausted as much, right? And the social life, we touched on it in the last episode, but forget the group chat hell. You just say, I want to see my friends next week. Your AI talks directly to theirs, agent to agent. It scans the calendar like time pass and finds 1-2 hour window where everyone's free. It knows your friend's vegan, the other one's on a budget, and that you've been sleeping badly. So it presents a list of cafes that are quiet with great salads and cheap coffee. Books the table, arranges the cyber cab, pings the confirmation. You did nothing but voice a desire. The admin of staying connected, and I think that's actually the real silent killer of friendships. It just evaporates. These bots will also be companions too, not for human replacement, I don't think. I don't think anyone really wants to have a robot as their best friend for life's big moments. But for the quiet in-between time, I think it's going to be perfect. Like a comfort bot that notices that you're stressed, dims the lights, plays your chill playlist, or sits with your grandma while she knits, asking about her old photos. Maybe a bit more like that murder bot, but gentler. But you can customize it, maybe with a dry sense of humor, and it won't replace your spouse, but it'll fold the sheets and it won't complain, I guess. Early on, I think this was going to be a luxury. The wealthy is going to get like these concierge fleets with loads of these robots, and the rest are pretty much going to wait. But I think China is going to be coming hard, turning these, like, you know, they turn drones from like hundreds of thousands of dollars to tens of thousands of dollars to 1,000 and sub, like, you know, you can pick them up for like $50 now. And that was all done within about 6 years. So I think the same is going to happen with these robots. So I reckon by 2034, you're going to see like a $3,000 to $4,000 light model on AliExpress, rent it for like $200 a month, and suddenly it's in public housing, not in penthouses. But I still think that there's going to be like a feeling that the wealth gap is just getting bigger and bigger, because the top 1% that have access to all the AI compute and all of the top-notch robots, it's just, even though the tech is going to filter out, and I think that life for even those on the lower incomes are going to be fantastic. It's just going to be, the gulf is going to be quite wide, I think. And I think that the human race is going to be really quite a lot more productive than ever with global output soaring. But the thing is, then jobs in admin, retail, domestic work, I think they're going to be much rarer than today. And I think it's going to take up until the 2030s to sort out the safety net, the taxes, the politics, all of that stuff. And I think there might be quite a bit of unrest there. But the thing is, by 2034, I think your voice will be the dominant interface. Your robot will be the new dishwasher. And it's going to just feel so normal to have that happen. You'll cook less, you clean less, you worry less, and the kids won't remember a world where, you know, dinner didn't come with a polite, you know, spicy or mild tonight. And I think we're still going to argue with our partners, but at least the dishes will be done. What do you guys think?
I think we need to go to Felina straight away, because she was laughing throughout most of what you were saying. And I don't know if you were doing something else and that was funny, or we probably need to start filming some of these episodes.
It wasn't just me who was like laughing, okay? Matt as well. I
was doing a few giggles. Yeah, I was doing a few giggles, but honestly, just a few facial expressions as well of sheer astonishment as well.
I think Matt is just generally happy. that Felina was nearly falling off a chair. Some of the stuff you said, Jace, I don't know if you realised what you were saying.
I was trying to put an optimistic spin of the future, right? No?
Just the
Optimistic.
the term that struck out for me, and then I'm going to pass over to Felina or Matt, who wants to go first. But yeah, comfort robot.
Have you guys seen Murderbot?
Well, have you heard of the term comfort woman? Because that has a lot of sad and negative connotations from the past. And then when you said comfort robot, I was like, what?
Okay, I didn't want to put it on that side, but yes, that I think a small percentage of the population are going to be using it for the human intimacy that they're lacking.
Because when you said the comfort robot and you were like, oh, I'll sit with your grandma and knit with her.
But then he said, like a murder bot straight after that, which was just so funny.
No, like Murderbot. I don't know, has anyone seen it on Apple TV?
No, I know what you meant. It's just that when you used it immediately after the grandma knitting, it was such a hilarious image.
Is this one robot that will do everything in the home, or is this a series of robots? For example, if someone's going to do cooking and they're going to be a chef, there's a lot of humans, our hands move in very unique ways. We have dexterity, but then that skill, I don't know if the same robot that chops vegetables can also go and do laundry, are these different robots, and the robot that is the chef, is that also the comfort robot? Yeah.
I think it will be multifaceted, but it depends on how much stuff you want done out of the house at any one time, right? If you want your dinner done and the house cleaning itself, then maybe you might need two. And a lot of people are saying that you would have like a specialized robot for certain things. And I think maybe, like those Roombas that you have, that's probably going to stick around it and stuff. But for cooking, I think that having just a humanoid form factor can do every type of cooking, can use every type of appliance that a human can do. And obviously it'd just be way quicker, but it might have some attachments that it kind of puts on its arm to like chop vegetables much faster or something like that. But I still think that the humanoid form factor is the most versatile, that can do everything. It can do the laundry as well as, cook and clean and everything around the house.
The same robot that is the chef, and then if that's also the comfort robot looking after grandma, that's dangerous. It's knitting with grandma, but then it's going to suddenly whip out a knife. So I don't know if we're there.
Guys, we are there. Have you not seen Neo that was launched just last week by 1X?
The one that was doing the laundry. Oh no, the dishwasher. And it took
was trying
forever
to load a
to close
dishwasher.
it.
Yeah. Looked like a guy who had a problem with drugs trying to load a dishwasher. But that's the first one, which is apparently affordable. $25,000 to buy it. It comes in white, grey, and black. Mm-hmm. And also it costs $500 a month. And there's loads of memes as soon as it was launched, taking the Mickey out of his appearance, but then also showing kind of dark memes of it holding a pillow over your head saying, you missed last month's payment. Obviously, the world has taken the Mickey out of it, but it could be the first one because it's affordable. Of course, we have Tesla Bot, whatever it's called, but it's way more expensive. But both are humanoid. So Jason's got a point.
How about we start with something a bit more straightforward? Like, can't they just make like a mini drone? And I'm sat here all lazy at my desk, and then it's like, right, go get me another bottle of water, or go and answer the door,
Aren't you going to say please? Are you literally going to treat it like that? I mean, we're even like, I'm kind to dogs.
It's not human form factor, so I don't need to be polite. It's a drone that just floats next to me, and then I can be like, right, water now.
Well, there'll be humans that treat drones and machines like you, Jag, and then there'll be the other humans that are really polite and have comfort robots. You know what I mean?
I'm actually quite polite to them, but not for the purpose of comfort, but just the purpose of Skynet, Rise of the Machines, Arnie, Sarah Connor, etc.
I've stopped saying please and thank you to ChatGPT. I used to say thank you and please every time until Sam Altman said stop doing it because it costs loads of energy. And I listened to Sam Altman and stopped doing it, which is probably says more about me and my, yeah. But I'm not polite anymore, Jag, either.
Do you know what's quite funny about that Neo robot by 1X is that they're saying it's kind of, well, when you see it, you think it's like an AI bot and it can actually do a lot of stuff, but it's all tele-operated. So if you had this robot in your house, someone somewhere in an office is literally doing the task and the robot is actually picking up. There's hardly any AI in it. I think the only thing it can do autonomously is answer the door. Did you see the, was it New York Times? The reporter went there to the head office and was actually seeing the demo, but it wasn't actually, it was just someone in a suit doing that. And they protect privacy by blurring out the faces automatically. But I don't know, it just seems pretty off to me.
So you're saying that if they blur the faces, that Matt could have his robot, Matt might not have any clothes on, but they'll still blur Matt's face, just not the rest of Matt.
Here's another pivot. What if you fall in love with your Neo, but you fall in love with the person operating your Neo? So you you have a relationship with somebody in an office in Palo Alto via your piece of hardware that stutters around your apartment. Would that make a good film? Is that her part 2?
You wish it was Palo Alto. It's Vijay in Bangalore.
Oh, talk dirty to me.
Oh, Jason.
Hey, I'm Indian, right?
You're Indian when you want to be.
Hey.
Come on, Felina, we haven't heard from you yet.
I am digesting every single second of this. You know what? It was quite fascinating to hear Jason's monologue. Okay. Firstly, I think there was some really interesting bits in there, which is like the laundry bit and all of that. It's basically like the Jetsons on crack, because we all thought we would have flying cars by now, but then we don't. So then, this is like almost a step up, right? Because I was thinking of the cooking one specifically. And I was like, okay, you know how there's this particular appliance in the kitchen called Thermomix and how it replaces so many of your appliances at the moment, like the chopper, the processor, whatever also. So, and that's like basically the creme de la creme of like a kitchen appliance at the moment. So then the robot version by 2034, from what I understand from Jason's description, was that it will probably be like a moving Thermomix, where it's like, I don't know, like an Edward Scissorhand time a transformer thing that can do all sorts of things. And I was like, okay, that's really cool. To your point though, Jag, about will it be a series of robots? It probably has to be. Or the cooler thing is if a company can make the robots modular. So for example, like I go to the website, right? And I say, I want to buy a robot. And then like it asks you some types of questions where it's like, what sort of robot do you need? And I'm like, oh, I want a robot for laundry, for like cooking. I don't know, taking the trash out.
Comfort.
And yeah, comfort robot. And then it basically builds you like a robot. So like it's modular, and that would be, that would be cool.
Build-a-bot.
Build-a-bot, yeah!
Trademark. It's yours, Felina. This is the start of your billion-dollar empire.
Amazing.
Build-a-bot. In the interim, though, in between, surely, because I just don't see one robot that does it all. Maybe I just see it being split out. I really do. I could see
you still want the drone one that answers
just
the door.
The little drone that just helps out. Just a little one, just for like an average Joe like me. I don't own multiple properties like one person on this recording, and so I'm just
definitely not me. We're looking
not
at
me.
him.
And so I just want to have something that's affordable. Like maybe the price of like 2 MacBooks. And that's just going to fly around,
Why do you want it to fly around?
Yeah, Jag, is this flying around in your apartment? Why?
It's not going to fly
it's
around
like a
very
giant
quickly.
Mosquito.
It's just going to go slowly.
Okay.
Just slowly, for safety.
say if you wanted to get you something heavy, and then it's like,
No. Yeah, it's not a robot that can do everything. It's just little things, you know.
Okay.
The cat scratched me again. Get me a plaster, you know.
Plaster. So it's small items retrieval drone.
But its drone rotors are going to blow all the plasters away while it's trying to pick it up. It's going to keep on going.
Well, I mean, sure, I'm not a designer, so that, not for me to figure that answer out. But like a humanoid version, we've seen how far it's gone so far. I don't know. I just don't think they can build one that's going to walk around. Also, it takes so much space, you know. Like there's a robot.
Maybe it will be like, you can ask, you know, put in a wish list, right? It could be like a flat pack style. I don't know, you know, like IKEA Build-A-Bot, where I don't know how that will work. But,
maybe
you know?
maybe it folds down when it's not in use.
That sounds like a good USP for Build-A-Bot, Felina.
His modular.
Yeah. Folds away next to your ironing board.
Yep.
Remember to turn it off, otherwise it's going to be mumbling throughout the night in the
and maybe, you know, if you want the flying around aspect, you can add a jetpack to like your Build-A-Bot, you know? It's just,
Okay, so the whole flying in an apartment thing with jetpacks just doesn't make sense to me. But you guys crack on.
Hovering ability. Maybe he can hover, okay? So then like he's like a few inches off the ground and
I got some thoughts apart from designing the future of home care from what Jason was saying. The monologue was amazing and it took me on a real journey. But my major overriding thought was, I just feel like, why should I get up? Why wake up? Just cryogenically freeze me. You don't need me anymore. My bots are doing everything. I don't need to enjoy life. I don't need to manage my diary. If I can't afford to be cryogenically frozen, I just wake up, kind of look at my bot and go, yeah. And it goes, and I go, cool. And then I go back to sleep because it's doing everything. I mean, it sounds like a utopia, you know, where you don't have to do any admin and you don't have to manage anything and you don't have to text your mates and you don't have to, but I mean, all that free time, I just feel like my brain would just liquidize. I don't know I wouldn't know what to do. I just go back to bed. Sorry.
You can post more on LinkedIn because it's a genuine skill you have. Your recent post, the one that's gone super viral, I really like that one. I think a lot of people can't come up with stuff like that. So you can focus your energy there. You can get back into football. We learned that on the last episode. Stop blaming your calves or whatever it was. Right? Get back on the field. Spend more time with your daughter. Could do that, you know?
I would like a bot that talks to me like Jag does, like a motivator bot. So I wake up, I've got somebody like Jag just saying, look, you can do this, you can do that. And I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, come on. So yeah, Felina, build a bot. My first order is the Jag module.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Let's get to work tomorrow, Jag. We got to do like a voice recording piece. So we got to make sure that, you know, you say all those, you know, really encouraging lines. And then, you are the first persona that people can add to their Build-A-Bot.
I've already committed to retraining as a psychologist, psychotherapist. You may have heard on the previous episode. So I've got my own private practice on the horizon 100 months from now. I'll be looking after several people's AIs, comforting those comfort robots that need comforting, you know?
Oh my God.
Jason made you do what? All right, should we have some closing thoughts on this? I mean, I've made my position clear. I want separate robots for separate tasks. I want a robot to come to my door and collect my laundry, and then they bring it back later that day or the next day. I want a robot that can cook and clean in the kitchen area, and maybe they can clean the bathroom as well. I don't know if that's sanitary though, but you get my point. I think there's separation here. I want a little drone the size of a little saucer plate that will go and fetch me a bottle of water, will answer the door when my wife is locked out. Not that I want to go and answer the door to my wife, but, you know, let's just save me from moving when I don't need to. Answer the door to Deliveroo and Uber Eats and all of them. Don't need to see them anymore. That's what I want out of my robots, but I get it. Maybe you guys want an all-in-one to humanize them more. We end up giving them names. Do we genderfy them? I noticed Felina said earlier she called the robot a he. Anyway.
That was just an example, I swear to God. It could be anything you want the robot to be.
No, we're not. We don't live in a woke world anymore, Felina. No one can be anything they want to be. Have you seen the latest John Lewis ad?
It's brilliant.
Oh, but
it's so good.
But if you notice, wokeism is dead because the two women in that advert, they stay in the kitchen throughout the entire ad, while the men leave the kitchen and get to have fun. That's what I noticed from it. I was like, God, the guys are having fun. They're dancing in the living room, whereas the mum and daughter are there still in the background cleaning up at the end.
And the men are partying.
Yep.
And reminiscing and gifting.
The good times are back. The good times are back.
Oh, God.
My God. Where is Jen when I need her?
My closing thoughts on this would be, I mean, Elon spoke on Joe Rogan's podcast recently. He's back on there, and he one of the golden nuggets he said was that working will become optional in the not too distant future because of what the stuff that we've been talking about, because it's all be taken over by automatons and robots and flying saucers in Jag's apartment. So if working becomes optional, for me, that just sounds a bit terrifying. I would honestly need a robot that tells me what to do. So I'm like, okay, so you've taken over everything, all the admin, all the life admin, washing the sink, taking the bins out. Can you motivate me on what I'm supposed to do with the rest of my life? That's how I feel with it.
You could do anything you wanted. If someone gave you like a magic wand and you'd be like, I just don't want to have to worry about all this stuff. Right. Actually, you're probably one of the few people I've spoken to that are like, I actually want more admin. You know, it's like,
I guess it's the payoff. It's that you do life's dirty work and admin to look forward to the cool stuff. So then the cool stuff just feels cooler. If my entire life is cool, it'd just start to feel like one big bland bowl of soup.
That's true. But I think you can go to the higher level stuff. Like, just imagine, like a century ago, if most of our ancestors were working on farms or whatever, and then they look at our lives right now, it's like, you're sitting around all day doing nothing, right? Compared to what they did, right? So we'll be working on the higher end tasks, right? Like maybe studying something that you're really interested in. And I think there's a really interesting thought. I can't remember who said it, but they were talking about how, I think it was Andrej Karpathy, right? He was talking about how now we don't have to do physical labor like on the farms, etc., but people still go to the gym to work out because they do it for fun, right? And then we could be talking about what do we, if AI can do all the cognitive tasks that we need it to do, like why would we still study? But I think it's more about the fun aspect of just the same as going to the gym and working out hard. You don't need to do it, but you do it because it's fun. It gets you healthy the same way in your brain as well. And you can explore anything. Say if you love tinkering with engines or something like that, and you can make your own, and all these things that you wish you could have done, with your kids or with your parents or whatever else it is. It's like opening up that whole world for humanity to thrive, really. But again, there'll always be downsides.
I can assure you, Jason, I do not go to the gym for fun. I do not enjoy going, and I pay a personal trainer far too much money just to make sure that I turn up, because otherwise I won't go, or I will procrastinate around the home in my gym gear thinking about going. So I have a personal, and I go because it's costing me money. So trust me, I do not go for fun. But there we go. This Andre, whoever, no, he's wrong.
I'm thinking, right, like who would be, or which company would be, I guess, the first one to introduce a modular robot or like this sort of household robot. Yes, we've already seen that dishwasher, half-baked robot. But I'm just thinking, because if we're thinking, okay, 2034, now we're in 2025, well, coming up to 2026 soon. Do you guys think it would be one of the big, obviously like companies, whether that's a Tesla, whether that's like whoever, or will it come out of maybe China? I don't know. I keep thinking about who might be the first one to do it, because whoever will do it first, yes, they'll be, susceptible to loads of like feedback, both negative and positive, but also they'll probably pave the way for like more robots to come and build a bot at some point. So I don't know. I can't seem to place my finger on who would be the first, but I'm sure it's already in the works. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that, but yeah, I keep thinking about it.
The current leaders that are emerging for robots in the home are obviously Tesla, Honda, and now potentially Neo with the 1X with the Neo product, because that hopefully you would imagine would only get better. So it's emerging, it's in the public consciousness, it's real, you can buy it. So it will only get better. And I'm sure Tesla will come back with a response to Neo.
Yeah, and my small point to that is I think before it comes into our homes, I think it's way more valuable to be in factories and places of work, because if you think about how much a residential customer is going to pay just to get their laundry done and stuff, it's not going to be that much, whilst you're paying someone 50, 100K to work in a factory. It's way more valuable in that respect. So I think all the first bots are going to be there. That's where they're going to get all their testing done and, falling over and doing all that stuff until it comes into house, probably a bit later on.
Wonderful stuff, guys. Great topic. Thank you, Jason. And you know what? Let's move on. And Matt, I'm excited. You're going to tell us 100 months forward, 2034, how is Big Pharma going to look?
Okay, I'm glad you're excited, Jag, because this is a topic that weirdly excites me. It tends to come across a bit geeky for some people, but my background is that I actually did a degree in pharmacology, so I'm a pharmacology graduate. So I'm going to take you back to a hotel, West London, a couple of decades ago. I'm sat in a huge plenary, as they like to call it back in the day, and I'm sat with about 700 other colleagues in this giant space, and the head of Takeda Pharmaceuticals at the time comes onto the stage and announces the launch of Actos. Now, I'm sat there, I'm newly graduated, I've got a suit and tie on. I've been wined and dined the previous night in the hotel, no expenses spared, free bar. And then this house music comes on. I'm not kidding, full-on house music. The lights start going. Some of the older execs start clapping and jumping out of their seats. And then there's this surreal kind of computer-generated movie trailer that shows on the screen, which is all about the launch of Actos, which is a type 2 diabetes drug. So it was a new launch. So Takeda had got a new product, had found what they wanted to be the next blockbuster in the treatment of diabetes. And it was a lot of fanfare. It was full on. I was fresh out of uni, and I was dazzled by this whole charade, this whole show. And so it had the whole company, and the party went on. The party kept going. So we stayed in that hotel for almost a week, just talking and partying and pretending to work and learning about Actos. So this is an example of my real life experience of the world of big pharma. And big pharma back in the day used to spend huge amounts of money, huge amounts of human resources to try and hopefully find the next drug that would make them billions. And then they'd spend a lot of money marketing, a hell of a lot of money marketing, and a hell of a lot of money on sales. So this was the heyday of big pharma. So what I want to talk about is that heyday over? Well, if we fast forward to today, the discovery for new drugs is still on. And we've got 30% of new drugs that are now discovered with AI in 2025. So companies are using AI to try and find, without spending too much time in the lab, because when you do it in the lab in the old days, it's a lot of trial and error, literally a lot of trial and error. But what we're seeing is the companies that are using AI are kind of these new, agile, biotech, nimble, small companies. There doesn't seem to be a great deal of use of AI by the big companies to try and find new drugs. It's like they're stuck in the past. It's like, we made lots of money in the past. We did it this way. Let's carry on doing it that way. So a quick example of what kind of numbers I'm talking about. So you'll have heard of the company Pfizer. It's one of the big blue chip pharmaceutical companies. And Pfizer is always synonymous with Viagra. You would think that Viagra would be the biggest blockbuster drug ever made because of what it treats and what humans get up to. But actually, it's a much more boring drug. It's a drug called Lipitor. And Lipitor had lifetime sales of $172 billion before it went off patent. So why is that relevant? Why am I talking to you about boring Lipitor, which is a cholesterol-lowering drug? Well, they figured out the protein that would inhibit receptors in the liver to stop the liver from producing cholesterol. So then we've got the Western world. We've all got high cholesterol. We've all got high blood pressure. This drug treated that successfully. So if we fast forward to 2034, it's predicted that up to 70% of all new drug discovery is going to be from AI. So why would that affect big pharma? And in fact, at the moment, the market size for AI drug discovery, just that niche, at the moment is 1.9 billion, which is not that much. It's going to go up to 16.5 billion in 2034. And here's how things change. Because when you can use AI and use in silico, so this is new to me as a pharmacology graduate. In silico is the name that's being given to computer modeling to find proteins that are going to work and become new drugs. Old-fashioned pharmacology, you're looking for drugs via in vitro. So you think you found a new drug, you test it in vitro, which is kind of outside of an animal's body, just in the lab. Then if you get results, it goes in vivo. You start testing it in mice, rats, and then you go to dogs, unfortunately, guys, and then it goes finally to humans. All that's going out the window with in silico. So in 2034, because we're using the computer and AI and also essentially quantum computing together, so when you partner quantum computing with AI, you start to be able to run billions and billions of combinations of, will this new drug, hypothetical drug, interact with this protein? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Here we go. We've done trillions of calculations, and we think that this is going to be a new drug of the future. So things get faster. It's cheaper. We're using technology. That's the first thing. The second thing is, at the moment, when you go to your medicine cabinet, you're going to pick up a blockbuster Pfizer drug. Let's say you've got high blood pressure. You chuck in a Lipitor, a statin, your blood pressure goes down. In the future, using quantum computing and AI together, it's going to use your digital twin. The companies or your doctors are going to know your genome, your proteome, and your microbiome. So they know all that, and it will be fed into the computer, the AI and the quantum computer will look at your body, your digital twin, and say, okay, this is the right, correct drug for this person. So you're going to get bespoke medicine. Here's the final prediction for 2034 and all this, because this is completely changing the way the pharmaceutical industry, the whole business model of pharma is changing with this. The final bit is it won't be mass produced. It will be 3D printed down the road next to your pharmacy. The drug will be produced there. You'll pick it up. And so it will be locally produced. It will be extremely bespoke only to you. And it will be done cheaper and quicker. Here's my question to you guys. Do you think big pharma will disappear completely because of these new interventions of drug discovery and how it's given to people, and we'll have lots of small ones? Or are we going to have like a Netflix situation where you have GSK, Pfizer, Abbott, all these big bad pharma that exist now, and they're going to be the housing company like Netflix, and all these small, bespoke, nimble biotech companies and startups will be like apps that exist within these giant pharmaceutical companies? A lot to take in there if you're new to big pharma. Big pharma is a large part of the business world and does take up a lot of headlines because it's, in health, the US has a very powerful place. So sorry to go all healthcare on you, but what do you guys think about that? Is Big Pharma going to die, or is it going to become Netflix and loads of small ones are going to exist under its umbrella?
Quick one before, in case Felina or Jason have something they want to say. It's great that you've brought up Big Pharma and medicines and all of that. Question to you, how is your cognitive ability, Matt? Because I'm pretty sure in the last episode we aligned on you coming forward with a rap for this episode. I was kind of waiting patient. I thought he's going to end with a rap. It's coming. How's he going to make this work? It didn't happen, though. It didn't happen.
I mean, I'd have to be some sort of lunatic stroke genius to get Big Pharma into a rap. But I'm sorry to let you guys down, but I thought about it. I did get a lot of pressure from you guys. I did think about it, but it would just bring down. This is a great podcast. It would just bring it down far too many notches. I just couldn't.
The Slim Shady of Sheffield. That's what we were hoping for. That's what it was billed as.
I like to embrace the cringe. But that would be far too cringe. The cringe would just be off the scale.
Don't let us down completely. Maybe one day in the future, maybe. We won't bring it up again, but maybe one day you'll surprise us. Maybe.
Only because Felina's nodding. Okay, maybe.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Do you know what? That's such an intriguing topic. I can't disagree. I do see it being smarter, personalized, potentially faster, and moving from the reactive model of selling one size fits all to proactive, data-driven partnership in managing a person's health and potentially intercepting disease before it even starts, based on everyone's individual makeup and DNA. But, and this kind of links in a little bit to Jason's topic, will this revolutionary power benefit all of humanity or just the privileged Jasons? The privileged ones.
Oh, gosh. Matt, on your point about, do you think the big guys are going to own everything pretty much? And I think that all stems on what happens with the patent system, because obviously the big boys can afford the most compute. And, with the protein modeling that you were talking about, it's who can come up and synthesize those drugs as quickly as possible and own those patents. I know a lot is happening quite recently with repurposing existing drugs, like setting AI on a kind of goose chase, looking at all previous studies and then coming up with hypotheses about using maybe slightly different doses of existing drugs to treat new problems. So I think that's going to be something that's going to continue into the future. And it also matters, like, if we have like this huge surge of new discoveries that are happening, are they going to still carry on with the slightly antiquated, older testing, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 trials type system, or is there going to be like AI can devise a much better way of determining safety on these drugs and stuff? But it's definitely going to be quite a cool world. But I hope, when we were young, we were all hoping that, medicine would be much better state than it is today, especially in curing cancers and all the stuff that's really plaguing our society. But I don't know. What do you reckon, Felina?
I like the idea of, rooting for the underdogs, but I completely agree with Jason about the patent system, because that is where, big pharma is going to rise to the top very quickly. In an ideal world, I hope that, yes, we get a lot of the smaller independent ones coming up with the ideas and getting credited for the ideas, but big pharma sort of reframes themselves or rebrands themselves into something more positive, something less, commercially driven. I mean, yes, they still have to make money. I completely get that, but it's more for the greater good of society, because I think big pharma has a bad rap at these days. And, with maybe fresher thinking, new blood from the smaller ones, maybe big pharma, might move more into that M&A role and somehow, just again, be more human focused and less about ooh, making billions. I'm sure they still will, but it would be a nice turning point if that were to happen at all.
Data's a big part of this as well, isn't it? Data,
Yeah.
like individual data, you know, the picture that Matt paints, it's an industry that will run on oceans of personal data, I can't say it, genomic data.
Just your genome.
Genomic
Genomic
data.
data, yeah.
Because it's biometric, and then it's definitely a word that ends in MIC with G at the beginning. Anyway.
That's the rap.
Genomics.
If Matt rapped, it would have worked anyway. But there's a lot of personal data. Who owns it? Will it be the individual? You know, will I be chipped? And then when my flying drone runs into my head and knocks me out, and I'm carted off into A&E, will there be a little chip in me that then they can scan and be like, oh my God, he's so unhealthy. We're going to have to give him the very specific medicine here. Do you know? Or did the companies have the data? Is it all centrally on a database? Will it be tied to my new national identity card, Kia's card, whatever he's going to call it?
Yeah, and to your point about having these kind of micro pharmacies that kind of synthesize these drugs, I was also thinking about that. And I think that future probably won't happen because of the critical safety about handling some of these chemicals and, you know, concoctions. And because also the fact that there could be some, you know, drug lab that can create that personalized medicine for you, and then a drone can just pick it up and deliver it to you within a few hours or something like that. So you could still have that same benefit, but not having to go to a local pharmacy. You know, I think still the big guys are going to control it in terms of that. You know, those with the capital that can just be a massive factory for personalized medicine to just deliver to millions or hundreds of millions of people.
Yeah, the one thing I'd say, yeah, you're probably right. It does seem a bit far-fetched. You have to think about how do those giant farmers make their money? And sorry, Felina, they are and will always be very focused on profit as well as helping out the human race for better health. But I think the blockbuster is almost dead. So there's two reasons why that's the case. It takes about 10 to 15 years and about 2.5 billion on average to develop a new drug today. And you've got the clock's ticking. As soon as you say, we've discovered a new drug and we want to test it, the clock is ticking until you release it because you've only got a limited amount of time before it goes off patent. That's why the big guys win. With AI, the clock will start ticking, but it's going to be less pressure because with AI, it takes 4 to 6 years rather than, they're going to predict in the future, 2034, it's going to take around 4 to 6 years, not 10 to 15. And the cost will be half of that 2.5 billion. So that means small players can get into the ring. So the whole like kind of term blockbuster goes out the window because there's going to be way more drugs available, way more one-size-fits-all drugs, way more drugs that we can go and take that aren't exactly connected to our genome, proteome, microbiome, but they're there and there's more options. So that's one way that the blockbuster is not going to exist. It's just going to be more options because it's cheaper and easier. Another reason why the blockbuster might not exist, and this is where the science starts to kind of edge towards science fiction, is what Jason's challenging, is that it's not going to be a one-size-fits-all drug or pill anymore. It's going to be a molecule tailored exactly to your protein profile. And if that, which would be awesome, and if that's the case, how do you manufacture that? And how do you do that on a big scale and deliver it if it's not done via a local place that kind of, 3D prints it? But you're right, there's a hole in that futuristic prediction. Is it a viable business? Or is there going to be lots of small companies that do that, owned by Pfizer?
I think also the robots are going to be a big factor in trying to diagnose you of an issue. Say if you're walking with a gait or something like that, it notices and it's like, okay, well, we need some corrective action. Or it seems like, I don't know if it's going to be analyzing our stool or something, all of that type of stuff.
Oh,
I think
my God.
I hope it doesn't go into the toilet to do that, but it's like, it can take a sample and then, yeah.
Exactly. That was the image.
walking with a gait because you had too much of your comfort robot.
Kicked you in the nuts.
Oh, jeez.
By accident.
But then if we add the two topics together, will we get to a point, because Matt made a point earlier about essentially purpose, jobs being optional. If work becomes optional, and if your health is so optimized, and if the robots at home are further optimizing your health, to Jason's point, analyzing, the way you move, what's going in you, what's coming out of you, will humans end up revolting? Will humans be like, well, no, I want to do unhealthy things. I want to drink a liter of Jim Beam, and then you robots figure out how to fix my liver in the morning, Will humans want to be more human?
I think that's a very good point. Exactly what I was thinking. Humans are going to human, and I can just imagine myself just rebelling and getting annoyed with my home robot optimizing my health, and just be like, optimize this, and just downing a pint of cider or something in front of it. Recalculate my genome now.
At least that they're kind of like the backstop that is always going to save you. And definitely, I reckon humans are just going to go buck wild, but they know that, okay, look, if I need to get back on track again, I can just follow what the AI says for a week or two, get my body in check or whatever, and then go at it again, I guess.
Yeah, good point. Could live on the edge, go wild for 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks in recovery. Wild for 2 weeks, 2 weeks in recovery. Where's Matt? He's in 2 weeks of recovery. He'll be back. Great. We need him to dice with death. We enjoy that.
It's like eat, sleep, rave, repeat.
Yes. Eat, sleep, rave, repeat for the greater good, as Felina said earlier. Made me think about Hot Fuzz. Right, you know what, guys? That was a great episode, and I loved the talk, and I loved thinking about 100 months forward to 2034. What an exciting future we have. We won't have jobs, we'll have more time to podcast, and we'll all be taking turns to check in on Matt's mental health. Wonderful. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Felina. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, listeners. This has been episode, and I haven't figured out going forward if I'm going to say like 101, 102, or am I going to go 101, 102? Who knows? But for now, this has been episode 101, and we'll see you on the next one.